Hello, everybody. How are we doing? We attempted to do another stream, but once again, we have had, well, technical difficulties that I decided to fix off camera. I figured today we should do something easy. And you know what's easy? A walk in a park. But we can't walk through parks, can we? Because we're sitting in a chair on the porch of my apartment. So what we're going to be doing instead, we're going to go here. Or sorry, we're gonna go here to a place called Mystery Fleshpit National Park. Ta-da! It's cool, right? So basically, this is a oh, hang on. This is a window that is way too big, and it's funny that that would happen to me now. Okay, let me just shrink that down. Okay, and we'll just yeah. Hang on, I gotta crack my neck. So, what is Mystery Fleshpit National Park? That's the thing. I barely know. All I know is it's a giant park and there's a big monster and it's made of flesh. But we're gonna do a live dive about it instead of just assuming things, obviously. So we're gonna be talking about, the now defunct Mystery Flesh Pit National Park in downtown Gumption. I guess is where it's close to. So we're gonna go ahead and turn on some spooky music to get the ambience going, and we will start the stream. Oh wait, but first let me go over to Twitter. And if anybody wants to join my Discord, I've got the links in the chat. I'll go ahead and paste them at the end as well. Just don't let me forget. Okay. Today we are live. Come on. And then I ended up capitalizing TO because my shift keys are still fucked. Today we are live and visiting Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. Hashtag Twitch. Hashtag spooky. I guess. Hashtag VTuber. And we're gonna go ahead and get some of the ambience in the background started. You guys feeling cozy? Why don't you turn the lights off, get some blankets, it's gonna get spooky. So I know about as much as you guys do. It's not a whole lot. I'm not sure where to start, if we should start from the very bottom and work our way up or what. Because I'm not entirely positive there. So we're gonna go ahead and just scroll all the way down. So you know it's spooky because we're on Tumblr. So we're gonna go all the way down to the bottom. Seems like there's a lot of information on here. This is an ARG, as you can imagine. We're going to cover a lot of those. Trevor Roberts was the creator of this. Copyright 2020. Okay, cool. So let's get started with the very first post here at the bottom. I believe that should be all of the posts in total. High technology deep in the heart of Texas. Almost half a mile beneath the brutal Texas sun lies one of the newest and most advanced computer systems in the world. Its purpose? To allow engineers and park rangers to reign in the ancient and inconceivably large permeate? What? Okay, large permanent basin superorganism. After all, this is Cowboy Country by Oliver Herrera. So this is the computer system. Oh, That's as big as you're gonna get? Really? Okay. I guess I'll have to squint. This is why my character needs glasses. Popular Science, June 1995. Mystery Flesh Pit since its days as a roadside tourist oddity in the 70s. Oh, I'm reading it the wrong side. I'm having a moment. Oh, come back to me, Mari. Don't die. She's having more than a moment. Okay. The room I'm standing in buzzes with activity. Reflections from lights, gouges, and monitors flicker and dance on tall windows which overlook a large glassed-in atrium. Beyond that glass, a 500-foot tall chasm of muscle and flesh. This is Mystery Flesh Pit National Park, and I'm being given a tour of its control room by one of the park's technicians. While the park is staffed and operated by Park Service employees, this looks more like a NASA operation than what many imagine the work of a park ranger to be. It's a lot of work to manage a resource as unique as the Flesh Pit, says Aaron Welch, the park's director of operations. He should know. Aaron has been with the Mystery Flesh Pit since its days as a roadside tourist oddity in the 1970s. Cutting his teeth as a derrick operator, Aaron says he was drawn to the pit because of the continual challenges it poses to development. In the early days, we didn't have any kind of advanced monitoring system, just seismometers and pressure balloons hooked up to long tubes and barometers. It was real primitive, and you could only know what was going on with the pit locally, kind of like a doctor only being able to listen to the heartbeat and not much else. As the interior of the park was explored and mapped, so too did the technology mature. In 1981, a fixed hydraulic-based system was installed which allowed operators to both monitor the pit's overall condition while also influencing the behaviors of specific anatomical elements, such as valves and muscles. We've come a long way, I think, Aaron beams. This new computerized system gives us an unprecedented degree of information and control over the pit's activity, and we're already seeing the results with increased guest safety and satisfaction. This brand new control room was completed in April of 1994 and is the largest piece of $500 million renovation to the park's infrastructure and lower visitor center. The darkened glass and concrete layer, designed by the acclaimed Santa Fe-based architecture firm of Roberts and Associates, is the brain as an intensive digital network, which Spears. Let's see if we can zoom in. Help. Which Spears miles from the pit's anatomy. Oh, of course that would happen to me. At one end of this system are more than 800 sensor stations, strategically embedded throughout the known portions of the national park. These sensor stations themselves, a combination of weather satellite and nerve ganglion, are each outfitted with over a dozen instruments which measure a range of conditions such as humidity, bioseismic vibrations, pH levels, fluid pressures, air quality, and even pheromone concentrations. This raw stream of information from the field stations is continually transmitted via insulated cables to network hubs until it eventually collects within the computer bank near the back of the control room. Aaron motions to the large blinking machines behind a glass wall. It's an enormous volume of data to handle, so this supercomputer sorts it out and turns it into a usable picture for us so we can get an idea of what's going on at any given spot. And I just wanted to kind of appreciate this computer room here. So it's going into all the details about the computer room. One of the 20 models in control room displays a colorful chemical. See, it's really hard to operate with a computer here. Basically, it's going to all the details. There's a lot of machines and mechanisms going on into the body, and I want you to kind of read this for yourself. So I will be providing a link to this. High technology deep in the heart of Texas. So we can find articles and informations. I can zoom in better over here. So what it's supposed to represent here is sort of like it's sort of like you're scanning through a magazine. Wait, there was a previous one? So here's what I believe the park looks like. It is essentially, you know, flesh. And it's mystery. And it's in Gumption, Texas. How's everybody doing? So far it doesn't seem that exciting just yet, does it? Ah. So far it's just a lot of technical jargon, it seems. But here we've got some more anatomy of what we're looking at here. So this is the pit entry orifice. Estimated upper content of organism. So this is where the flesh begins. This is just the insides. So you take the upper moisture crop and you go down to the hard palate? Lower moisture crop. There's some bone right there. Pleasure domes. Oh right. I remember hearing about those. Okay. Yes, Mom. You taking a nap? Say hi to the stream, by the way. Okay, I'll be quieter. Bye. So basically, when I said I didn't know much about this, I actually do have some understanding of this because I had watched Wendigoon's video talking about this. This profile survey is one of the many examples produced early in the development of the mystery Fleshpit. The New Jackson survey, conducted by surveyor James Slip and Jim Jackson, combined many prior smaller surveys with new biological data obtained by Jackson's team. Notably, Jackson's surveying expedition marked the discovery of such features as the Fondue Village, the Chime Bladder, and the Pleasure Domes. Missing from this early survey are deeper portions of the pit's anatomy, such as the gift gardens and copepod barrows, as these sections would remain inaccessible until the introduction of the Grumman IAV in 1978. This survey was printed in several national publications and was a primary piece of marketing information until an updated computer-aided survey was conducted in 1980. Aberrant alarm. If this emergency light is blinking, cryptic phenomena has been reported in this area. Never enter a worksite with high occult activity. I want a t-shirt with that. I don't know why. I just really want a t-shirt with that. Something about that just makes me think, t-shirt, I need it. So let's go ahead and keep scrolling and just make sure that there was nothing else. Because when I hit previous, you'd think it would take me to like the earliest post. So here you've got your basic information regarding how the computer room works. Lots of jargon. Park Trail Engineer. So we're gonna go ahead and skip that computer room information because it doesn't seem like a lot of scary stuff is coming from that. Let's check the chat. Oh my goodness, did I die? How many times have I been dead? It's probably really hard to see me because every 10 seconds I seem to be like glitching out and bugging out and stuff. But I have to like get really close up to the screen to understand what the hell is going on. So it's like it won't listen to me. Here, let me see if I can fix my chair. Yeah, no, can't even move the chair in closer. One day I might do a video explaining my setup and showing it off. Alright, so this appears to be the very first. This is how the Park Trail Engineer does what he does. So, here we have a multi-tool. It carves trails into existing fleshscapes and also acts as a deterrent to tutorial microbacteria. So, this is what a person does. They've got the impact driver for scent frames, so it smells, I guess, for them. Adapted forearm jacks are used for tight areas long enough for it. Yeah, so this is essentially just how they built stuff. They use stents and stuff like that so they can hold open things like veins and organs so that they can begin to build things. So they've got like this, like Among Us fit, I guess. Air is nominally breathable within the pit, but a reserve of oxygen is essential for unexpected drops into noxious gas bladders or carbon dioxide-filled lung pockets. Robust, overpowered carbon radio serves both practical and psychological purposes. Just to keep you from going crazy, basically. Pant cuffs and boots are interchangeable due to the frequent effects of gastric enzymes with fabric layers. Sharp pleats aid in gripping onto slick, fleshy walls. Enzyme secretions increase with trail building activities. Excess liquid will need to be drained via vacuum hoses as scenic trail is developed further. So basically, to my knowledge, it seems like these guys are going in wearing these suits. They've got like this whole outfit right here. And they go inside the body of the flesh pit and they're setting up stents. And it doesn't really say why, but I think, I know some of the things that do end up happening later. So this one detects smells. They can't wear the mask because they have to wear the mask because they can't go near carbon dioxide or certain toxic chemicals. Jeez, I can't talk today. And they have to suck up gross fluids. Like it's just really gross stuff. The interior of the mystery flesh pit is at many times an environment completely unsuited to human life. Park Service trail engineers work to reinforce and develop internal cavities of the pit into safe and pleasant areas for park visitors and their families. The service is most often outsourced to one of the park's many corporate partners who supply the highly specialized tools and equipment needed to traverse through the anatomy of the mystery flesh pit. To become a trail engineer requires extensive knowledge of caving geology and macrobiology, as well as well-developed resistance to phagophobia. I don't think I pronounced that right either. It's probably pronounced like phagophobia. Let me just Google what that is. Phagophobia, probably. I'm just gonna say phagophobia just to be safe. Because you never know. Phagophobia? Phagophobia is a condition characterized by an avoidance of swallowing foods and an intense fear of choking while eating solid foods in the absence of psychological, physiological, and anatomical abnormalities. So the fear of choking. So they're not allowed to have a fear of choking, and they have to have extensive knowledge as to how this thing works before they can go in. So there's probably not a lot of guys doing this. And here we have a utility vehicle. Here's the interior of the cab. It looks like a little rocket ship. And essentially it goes in here. Rigid structural stasis. Oh, cool, so we can zoom in. Rigid structural chassis withstands the immense crushing force of certain areas within the flesh pit. An overall lozenge form factor was necessary to allow the IAV to easily traverse the interior anatomy of the pit. Mechanical joints and moving parts are encased in flexible shrouds to prevent buildup of viscera and vital clearance areas of the vehicle. Sensor canisters house a suite of X-ray, lidar, and radar instruments for navigation. Heavy-duty utility winch. So essentially, this is like the size of a pill to this creature, and it's just going in there. But for what purpose? Who knows? Low-profile entry doors swing forward and out to prevent trapping occupants in the event that the IAV is crushed from above and below by peristaltic action. So the door has to swing open or they're gonna get, like, swallowed up. I think, not to break too much immersion here, but this is probably a 3D model. This looks like a 3D model, and then the fleshy parts itself are just hand-drawn. The legend drives the IAV via complex. Such flexibility is necessary for navigating. Yeah. It's really creepy, isn't it? It has to be swallowed, essentially, for you to use a vehicle in here. Let's go back and look at more information. So, you know those weird, like, weird anime of a certain type that takes place in a weird background that looks like this? This is where it takes place. One of the earliest challenges in the development of the Mystery Flesh Pit was the simple logistics of transporting personnel and equipment within the pit. While early crews had limited success crawling through the pit with canvas bags, it was apparent that a more reliable solution was needed. They tried to crawl in before, like we saw earlier, but then they just advanced to vehicles, so it got big enough for them to just use entire vehicles. The Grumman Internal Anatomy Vehicle, or IAV, was designed from the ground up with the complex terrain of the flesh pit in mind. These two-man, low-profile crawling vehicles were the workhorses of early construction projects within the Mystery Flesh Pit, so they're building something in here. A high-torque diesel engine combined with a strong articulating chassis allowed the IAV to reliably traverse even the slickest and steepest of routes. A streamlined lozenge profile was prevented loose tissues from catching or latching onto the vehicle as it traversed the many hundreds of miles of viscera within the pit. By the time that the Mystery Flesh Pit was absorbed into the National Park Service, many of the remaining IAV fleet were used by the Park Service as Ranger Field vehicles. As Ranger vehicles, many IAVs were used in a variety of mission profiles ranging from law enforcement, wildlife mitigation, as well as search and rescue operations. So there were casualties. Very few of these vehicles survived or recovered following the 2007 disaster, which closed the Mystery Flesh Pit. The remaining examples, which do still exist, command astronomically high auction prices and are a much sought-after addition to exotic car collections. So, after the 2007 event, which is like the bite of 87, I guess, was that the disaster of 2007? Um, After that, these cars were no longer needed because they closed down the Fleshpit National Park. So they have these in like fancy car collections. Let me go ahead and get a drink. Audio entering lower visitor center. Let me go ahead and pause the ambience real quick and see what this sounds like. It's just straight up sicko mode or something, like a really out of date meme. We're gonna go ahead and open this and see what this is. This track is private.
Hello, welcome to the Lower Visitor Center. Here, you can start your incredible otherworldly adventures with our child-friendly tours. For the daring thrill seeker, sign up for private expedition orientation classes at the front desk. For other questions, feel free to ask any of our park rangers. Remember, adventure awaits in the Underground.
Cool. So children would go through here, which is wonderful. Gotta love that for them. See what's next. Winter activities in Mystery Flesh Pit National Park. Doesn't seem to elaborate. Tape and that's what the entrance looks like. That's like a crude drawing of it. It's supposed to look inviting, but that looks like a straight up booty. This creature farts and everybody's gone. What if that was what happened in 2007? And here's the aberrant alarm that we saw earlier. And here's just a big map of what the overall structure looked like. So you would come in here through that little... I hate to say that it's a booty, but it looks like a booty. So you enter the orifice, which... Come on, orifice. I mean, orifice applies to a lot of holes in the body. It could relate to, like, your ear, and your ear could still be an orifice, but come on. That's the booty, anyway. So you go in here, there's a hard palette, moisture crop. So this is, like, essentially not even that much. Like, this is tiny. You see bones like this in your hand. Like, these are teeny tiny bones. This is huge. So you enter the hard palette, lower moisture crop, sand gullet, Thor's rib cage. And it probably isn't even a rib cage. It's probably just like a tiny little cell wall or something, which I know only plants have those, but shut up. Fondue Village. People eat from here. And I still don't know everything about the pleasure domes, but I'm scared. I know a little bit. I'm afraid to find out more. Surveying extent. Chime bladder. Depth extent. God's mistake. Oyster shame. Sand gullet. I don't even want to know what mucus cryptis is. I think that's just the snot. Gumption, Texas, 1974. Let's see what's next. Oh, yes, and that was the first thing that we looked at. Long details into the computer room. Information about it, how all it works, things that it's surveying. An article from June 1995 issue of Popular Science which briefly talks about briefly, that was like on and on and on. Probably lost like 5 people watching the stream just from that. Briefly talks about the mid-90s renovations and upgrades to the control systems of the Mystery Fleshpit. For the time, this control facility was state-of-the-art and remained more or less unchanged until the eventual catastrophic system failure which resulted in the closure of the park and a tremendous loss of human life. During the events of the 2007 tragedy, the third shift crew barely stayed within the control room to attempt rescue aid at the cost of their own lives. Spooky. So people died trying to rescue people, which is kind of a given. A lot of death. Roadless Rally 88. That is blood. 4x4 off-road jamboree through the Mystery Fleshpit Summer Qualifier, May 24th. How did they even get lights down there? Ugh, they did this at least 3 times. Caber Coops Spooky Halloween Carnival at Mystery Fleshpit National Park. Haunted hayrides, pumpkin patch, campfire stories, decorated trails, scary petting zoo, signed liability waiver required. Safe trick-or-treating, blood. Just blood, you know, good old blood. Corn maze, drink specials at Chili's 2 and Trader Vic's 21+. Also, they actually did have some like actual real life brands, like Coca-Cola is mentioned in here to make it really feel real. Also, those don't look like shoes. It looks like he's wearing socks. Anyway. October 31st, 1992. Admission, $5 children, 12 and under, $8 adults. This looks like something my family would actually go to, which is the really scary part. A Fleshpit worker's prayer. Each day I descend into the deep, cutting meat to earn my keep. I pray to my Father in heaven above that I return to those I love. If somehow death and I should meet, as even the Fleshpit needs to eat, I want my loved ones to be sure that in Jesus' arms I am secure. It's very tiny. I guess they just kept those on them. I thought that was like a wall decoration, but I guess that's like a little keychain. So I noticed on the wildlife brochure that there's a logo marked Joint Disaster Reclamation Venture. What was the disaster if the brochure is before the closing incident? Because the Mystery Fleshpit was a discovery unprecedented to a modern science, the Department of the Interior, along with the EPA, initially classified it as an ecological disaster. Anodyne Deep Earth Mining Incorporated has been awarded the primary operational contract for the earliest surveys and expeditions into the pit with a unique agreement that they would be granted an exclusive mining lease for resource extraction. So they're taking out resources, and they're mining it. So they're probably going to the people, and like I mentioned, Coca-Cola and Chili's is mentioned in here. In the interest of transparency in government, the partnership was made public knowledge with the development activities being referred to as reclamation. This terminology stuck around even in the decades following this discovery, long after the immense value of the Mystery Fleshpit was realized. Ironically, this terminology was finally accurate only after the 2007 incident. Anodyne Incorporated continues to jointly operate the Permian Basin Superorganism Containment and Ecological Exclusion Zone, which is a mouthful, but has taken a number of steps to distance this brand from the role it played in the tragedy. Let's see. So something happened in this pit. And I didn't know about this like previous disaster before 2007. I know a little bit about what happens in 2007, but the Mystery Fleshpit had an incident that they just labeled as a natural disaster, and it doesn't seem like anybody really seemed to die so that we know. There might be some miners or something that died. And the people that were in charge of it helped out with preventing any future incidents? Not sure. Also, I got a notification that Penguin Zero uploaded, which, you know. If you guys don't watch Charlie, what are you doing? Anyway, could you imagine if Charlie covered, like, the Walton Files or something? Notice. Prolonged skin contact with nervous tissue may result in an increased color perception range. The effect is temporary and often dissipates in 8 to 10 hours. Oh god, could you imagine going through that color trip? Did you know that shrimps can see more colors than the rest of us? It's like, you lucky little shit. So here's what it looked like going in. And a lot of you might be thinking, there's no way that people would, like, go to this. And I'm like, is there? During the heyday of the Mystery Fleshpit National Park, many attempts were made to entice foreign tourists to visit the park. Many of these early marketing campaigns were met with middling effectiveness, while later branding strategies focused on natural health benefits of the amniotic spring baths yielded far greater success. This South Korean language advertisement is an example of earlier campaign, which, like its original American counterpart, focused on thrilling and adventurous aspects of the unique park. Many thanks to the members of MFP Discord invite link who provided translation of this poster. Thanks, Ranty. I'll just leave that. You know what? Let me go ahead and copy that link and paste it in here because I want in on this Discord. I want in on this Discord, dude. There's got to be updates to the story because I'm pretty sure the ARG is. Oh my god, there must be exclusive art in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get that link and put that in here because this is like really fascinating. Let me go ahead and open up the chat. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of people in here, huh? Oh shoot. Guest and personnel, Fleshpit superior organism, welcome. Wow. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get that link for you guys. Doesn't seem like anybody's here, but we're still gonna go ahead and copy that link and share it. Okay, it's now in the chat. It's there if anybody wants it. Oh, and here's that art we just saw. Bronchial junction access way 7A. So this is the throat, right? Because bronchitis, you cough a lot, so I'm just thinking bronchial, probably the throat. Like a bronchosaurus, they have those long necks. I'm just thinking, yeah, probably the throat. I know how root words work. I know how root words and prefixes and suffixes work. I graduated high school, I promise. Alright, so Q&A 001. How deep is the pit? The depth record for a human was achieved in 1983 by an expedition team, which was able to reach an unprecedented depth of 19,000 miles, or probably another unit of measurement. We don't know if this person's American, but it takes place in Texas, so I think so. Well, I mean, Texas is up. I know Texas is in America. I'm just saying, like, I'm not the guy who made it. I mean, Martin Walls is in Chile, and he's writing the story in like taking place in like Virginia or something. So, anyway, shut up. 19,000 miles below the entry orifice, surpassing the previously held 1976 record. That's the year my parents were born. Record of 12,000 miles. At depths below 19,000 miles, the anatomy of the pit begins to noticeably change and become much less anatomically similar to other surface forms of life. Explorations beyond these depths are extremely challenging due to the exotic and largely unknown nature of the pit's lower anatomy. Unmanned explorable probe vehicles have been able to surpass the 19,000-mile depth, but poor communications quality over anything but tether cables have made for the exploration and cost prohibitive. It is hypothesized that the pit may well extend into the Earth's mantle, with many scientists suggesting that the organism may be native to the interior of the planet, having merely surfaced to the upper tectonic plates for unknown reasons. This kind of reminds me of Local 58. You guys like Local 58? We're gonna cover Local 58 someday. Right now, this is a new one. Oh, we also have to do Omega Mart. This right here just made me think, Omega Mart, we gotta cover it. Okay, hi, this is honestly one of my favorite projects I've encountered in a long while. I genuinely love it to pieces. I have a lot to ask though. What exactly are Anodyne mining down there? Among the resources harvested from within the mystery Fleshpit, by far the most ubiquitous and well known to the public was amniotic ballast. Excuse me. Miraculous soaking fluid was extracted from deep within the pit and was refined on site before being transferred to off-site facilities for additional processing. From there, many different products were manufactured by Anodyne that each exploited the fantastic properties of the ballast. One of the more notable best-selling of these was Vita Salve line of consumer-grade OTC supplements. You deserve to feel better than good. Natural remedies to reverse aging, improve mental health, and live in romance, all for the bounty of Mother Earth. Just another miracle of Anodyne Pharmaceuticals. Oh god, they made it look so realistic too. So it's like an aphrodisiac, and they've made other things as well. So they're mining things that people are consuming. So people are basically a virus to this thing, because they're eating from the pit. They're consuming items from the pit. So that's some spooky shit. Refined amniotic ballast was concentrated and combined with other materials sourced from the pit to cure a range of ailments ranging from general malaise, mental degradation due to aging, to growth of several carcinogenic tumors. Yeah, but what are the side effects? When consumed recreationally, refined amniotic ballast fluid created a very strong and pleasant psychotropic effect, altogether different from alcohol, cannabis, opioids, or hallucinogens. Though non-habit forming, the direct and plentiful, but how would that not be addictive? And plentiful benefits of products such as VitaSolve saw year-over-year continual market growth from the time it was initially offered until the supply was effectively shut down following the 2007 closure of the pit. Beyond ballast-based products, several other materials were mined from the pit by Anodyne. Bone structures were mined and cut to slabs, which found prominent use in construction industry, as well as insulating lightweight yet incredibly strong building and finishing material. So they're saying it's not addictive, but come on, non-habit forming. How would it not be habit forming if you're using it for your mental health? It's helping you with aging issues, right? It's an aphrodisiac. I mean, condition enhancement gel. I don't know what the hell is oncological? I don't even know. Alright. I'm gonna have to take a minute. My blood sugar feels low. We'll be right back. We're gonna go ahead and do this image. Low blood sugar. Pretty. Oop, BR. BRB? I'll be right back. Enjoy the spooky ambience for now. Ugh. I'll go ahead and turn my mic off. blood sugar is really low, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream and come back and make another stream. Bye!